what's going on, folks? I'm AutoMattock. Today I'm gonna do something a little bit different. We're gonna discuss why Rose cannot be a top tier character. Now, if you've been following, me, my sort of rhetoric, I don't really like discussing things in terms of tiers or top 5 or top 10. People ask me, first couple of days, how strong do you think Rose is? I'm like, I don't know. And I mean, at the beginning, in training mode, she seemed very powerful. I thought this character was going to be magnificent. Too cheap for me to play. Not even interesting. As time progressed, I was starting to feel like, okay, field testing some of these, strategies, it ain't really working too well. And as I get better with the character, even the first ranked match I played was Ultimate Grandmaster Guild, and I won my first ranked match. So I'm like, this character might be something special, very powerful. And I was actually doing really well in like the master ranks day one. I was like 50% or more win rate. As time progressed, as people figured out a little bit about the matchup, even as I was getting better, I started to go down, and then I lost Master. I got down to whatever Ultra Diamond, got back to Master, Ultra Diamond. I'm like pretty much right there with Master with this character. So in this video today, I'm going to discuss a lot of the problems that I'm seeing with this character. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with playing online because of the delay, because of the inconsistencies with rollback, that kind of thing. But also, we're going to talk mechanically what I think is going to prevent this character from being in that top tier category. Because I do think she's very good offline. But even then, she's going to have some matchups that I like to put in the category of what's the point of Rose? I think at least these characters are a nightmare for Rose, and if you're a tournament player, you shouldn't even bother playing her. Like, honestly, there's some matchups with Sagat. I felt like Rashid was a good example. Don't even play Sagat. Just pick another character. It's sad. I want to be able to, fight for discovering tech and digging into the solutions and conquering the, bad. But this game, these characters against Rose, don't even worry about it. Just let it go. Alright, so let's get into the subject matter here. Got a little handy dandy note. This is the guide I've been working on. I need to work on it some more. Okay, why Rose can't be top tier? So she's got no 3-frame. She's got no 3-frame reversal. Now 3-frames aren't really like the make or break, but they're very important for being able to defend yourself in Street Fighter V. Especially because she has no real invincible reversal outside of critical art. And she has Soul Spiral, which you can throw people, which she can be thrown out of. But it's also, I believe, the slowest reversal in the game. So some characters can even do a medium attack, meaty, and then block in time. So EX Soul Spiral is, of course, this move. Minus 26, and I believe 13 startup. If we go ahead and look at the frame data here, EX Drill 13. So yeah, it's rough. This is pretty good against fireballs, but you don't really get a whole lot out of it. It's good for ending the round. They throw a fireball and you kill them with it. It's okay, but it's not that great. You can also pair it up with the. You can pair it up with the teleport, and this is okay. But over time, this is punishable. And there's some other things going on with that as well. But this is just not a powerful reversal. The key point here is her defense is trash. It's very bad. She has a really good crouching light kick. This has incredible range. But the conversions you get off of it don't really matter. I think she's the only character in the game who can actually get 3 crouching lights. But unless you tie this to a V-trigger activation, it doesn't mean anything. It just means you get some breathing room, but if you're in the corner, it really doesn't amount to a whole lot. So you can do like this. Activate off crouching light is +5 on hit. And yeah, that's about it. If you do, it's +6. +6. But you still won't be able to reach someone with stand medium punch. Which is another one of the problems we'll get into. And that's her mid-range. And I think we can go ahead and... Yeah, we can talk about her mid-range a little bit as well. She's got like a lot of weird problems. So her mid-range there's 2 key attacks and then like supplementary attacks. Standing heavy punch and crouching medium kick. These are both confirmable normals. You can use these and confirm them. You can go to random guard and practice this and eventually be able to confirm them by just looking at the stun bar, or if they're in the process of whiffing an attack. That's cool. That looks pretty good, especially heavy punch. The range on this is quite good. You can get this from a very long range. But this is also where the online portion can work against you, because sometimes you get a rollback where it actually hits them, but then it rolls back to block, or you get a block but it was actually a hit. So you're throwing out these normals and you're depending on the connection to be consistent. And since you may or may not trust that in the moment, you may reduce your strategy to throwing a fireball or EX fireball, because this is good on block anyways. So now you're forced, or you may choose to spend EX meter where you otherwise really wouldn't need to. So then, the other problem with these normals, stand heavy punch and crouching medium kick, we can go ahead and take a look at that. This is just, it's so sad. So what we're looking at now is standing heavy punch. This is frame 13, where her hurt box finally extends. That is pretty cool. That's good. This is really good. And then on frame 14, we see where the attack happens. Now this is also great. Oh, I'm not moving that around. I don't have a whiteboard. Oh yeah, dude. Why is it not working? You just go ahead and put that up there. So we see that the extended hurt box here is behind the active. So here is what also can hit your opponent. That is very good. That's very good, because that means they can't attack where your attack hits. So this is just purely an attack hitbox. And then because this frame before it only has a small extended hurt box, it can be difficult for your opponent to hit the start of this before it happens. However, if we take a look at the recovery frames, oh, I don't know, let's say frame 32? Frame 32? 32? The extended hurt box after the attack happens, just lingering, hanging out, just there to just, oh my god, it says, hey, trying to whip punish, bro? Hey, I got some whip punish if you'd like it. It's crazy. It's very, 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 very bad. So you want to hit your opponents with this, whether it's on block or hit. You do not want to whip this. You do not want to whip this. Do not want to whip this. And of course, if you're playing online, the other thing, which may or may not have to do with connection quality, is the tendency for opponents to go in the air. So if you do this, you're trying to space it really carefully. Oh look, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Armika mixing you up. It's over. If you whip this one time and they're jumping, combine that with your defensive options, you're gonna be having a rough day. You're gonna be like, oh, V reversal, oh, get grabbed out of this. Or V-shift, you know what I'm trying to say here. So it's very, very tough. As powerful as this normal is, in terms of the range, you don't get a whole lot out of it. It's so dangerous to put out there. So there are 2 knockdowns in particular that you might get off of this. You may go into heavy punch, heavy kick drill, plus 26. Not much Oki. You don't get a lot of opportunity off of this. So what I end up doing is throwing a fireball after this and trying to set up the zoning warfare game, desperately hoping they don't jump. And I mean, in this part here, you can kind of make it work. If they jump, you got the scarf. If they back recover, you can get the soul punish out there, and then you can start running you can start, being better than Guile a little bit. But it's not exactly mixing them up or putting them in a guessing situation they can observe. What this is ultimately doing, what your goal in that moment here, is to be able to push them back far away enough so you can start getting your V skill, whether it's cards or satellite. So you're trying to set up traps in a way that's giving you enough time to give you something valuable so you can invest in your V trigger, that kind of thing. So this is not even an immediate return on investment. You have to work the neutral so you can then actually gain access to your V skills and things that are actually pretty good to characters. Satellites are good. Satellites greatly enhance your neutral. but getting to them is the really tricky part. And it's very hard to find times like when you have an opponent who's going to observe what you're doing and be cautious. Caution gets thrown out the window online. Not just because connection quality, but because it's just high success rate. And that is also a problem with pros is you are constantly trying to condition your opponent, but not only condition, it's just punish them for what they're doing anyways. And yeah, let me talk a little bit more about the mid-range, and then we'll talk more about how dealing with this sort of craziness in the online environment. So the other attack you have is crouching medium kick. This one. We'll look at the hitboxes for this, and we'll also point and laugh. So this is a confirmable normal. It's not too bad. This extends quite a bit. This is a little bit worse. It's faster than stand heavy punch, and it's also a low. It's faster than stand heavy punch, but we also see that the extended hurt box is past the attack, so that's kind of a bummer. When you go further, it's not as bad, but up until frame 17, it has that lingering extended hurt box. 17 frames is not really reactable in Street Fighter V in terms of punishing it like this. How many is it total? 17 frames is not really reactable with like even a 3 frame, because that'll give you like a 14 frame window. That's not reactable. 15 frames is when I start looking at you like, you sure you reacted to it? 16? Alright, you might have reacted. 17? Yeah, you definitely react. 18 and above. And 21 is where people can kind of react to multiple things. And that's just, these are all like variable numbers, depends on situation first. But this crouching medium kick does have an extended hurt box up until frame 17. So, it's a little bit dangerous. But it feels like if you can't use this standing heavy punch or erase your whiteboard, then you are confined to this crouching medium kick. So it's like you're playing Karen. And the other problem with this crouching medium kick is it does not combo into this EX at max ranges, and if you clip one of their normals with it, actually it combos pretty well. But if they attack into this and then you EX fireball, it's gonna take too long for the fireball to travel and connect. So this is a bit of a problem, because the only other knockdown you get without using V-meter is the medium kick drill or light kick drill to give you a little bit more time to confirm it, because it's faster. And this is the same scenario as before with the heavy punch. Kind of throw a fireball. You can dash at them. You're +4, but it's not particularly amazing. This is good to use if you want to escape the corner, and even that, maybe playing the zoning game is better here. But as you can see, when they back recover, you don't really have a whole lot to do here. So let's wrap up the mid-range, and let me see if I can just put Chun-Li to do EX legs to demonstrate how this can be a big problem. Just gonna have her do EX legs. Chun-Li's EX legs is 5 frames, 4 frames? I think it used to be 4, I'm not sure anymore. But because this is -6, that just gets punished. There's nothing you can really do about that. You can throw a fireball, and if it's spaced well, it'll create a gap. So that's okay. This feels like what you kind of have to do at these moments. But then, if you throw this light punch fireball too close, that's -6. So proceed with caution is the takeaway here. Suppose you can use the medium, and that'll interrupt here, and you won't have as many. This is still -4, and punish those. The legs must be 5. So yeah, you gotta really just work it. The heavy fireball's too slow to frame trap there. It's just, you want it to hit them, is the main takeaway here. I guess medium punch fireball can come in. It can come in handy. Yeah. There are 2 other normals to discuss when it comes to the mid-range. I mean, obviously you can sweep. The sweep has decent range, but obviously unsafe. You got toward medium kick. This is -6. Also gonna get punished by Chun-Li's EX legs. And I think doing drills in neutral, or whatever it's called, spiral, if you space these out, it's very difficult to punish the -10 on the -10. Stay in medium kick, punishable. It does go over lows, and it even goes over lows that would otherwise hit you. But there's no, you can't activate off of it. It's just, that's all you get. This is like the mid-range poke that kind of covers his range. But it's just +2 and -6 on block. That's really all there is to it. Is it helpful? Yeah. But it's not really like even Sagat stand medium kick is better than this. Even though it's slower, it's -2 on block and it helps you stay at this range to keep them away. So then the other attack is forward heavy kick for mid-range. This is pretty good. I like heavy kick as well, but you can't really use it at that mid-range. It's more about far away. So you can keep the -4 safe. But yeah, the forward heavy kick, it needs to crush counter. Most of the time it needs to crush counter. If it crush counters, yeah, that's excellent. You get the dash up, you can get target combo, and if you're close enough, you can stand medium punch. But it whiffs on crouch, so that is a big problem. That's a really big problem. So again, you have forward medium kick, you got walk around, she has very slow walk speed, and then crouch medium kick and convert from there. So as you can imagine, in some matchup, this is just not good enough. It's just not threatening enough. It doesn't give them a reason to not they don't have to care. It's so powerful to not care. Just jump, attack, and jump. it's so obnoxious. Not to mention V trigger, and you get the knockdown. Her defense is very bad. You can kind of just keep going. So let's talk about the anti-air situation. This is very much so the online problem. I think her anti-airs are actually very, very powerful. But because of her lack of mid-range and being able to tame your opponent on the ground in ways that make their jump predictable at this range here, it makes it so difficult to be able to reliably anti-air. So let's just set up a recording of Chun-Li jump and heavy kick. So let's say I'm in this mid-range, I'm trying to desperately fight for my life. If I'm in the recovery or something, it makes it so difficult to be able to anti-air at the same time. So what this also, as a result, what this makes you play with, you know what I'm trying to say? This is what happens with Rose. You end up doing nothing. Like, you're here, it's all you can do online. You just look for the jump. It forces you to play this way, to not even do attacks. And then if they dash at you, if they're pressing mid-range against your lack of mid-range, it's just like Final Fantasy Demon Wall. They keep coming, and then you're in the corner, and now you got no defensive options. So I would advise expressing all these anti-air options. Like, be really cautious. Jump back, medium punch, fireball. Crouching heavy punch is very good. It's a very good anti-air. But it's not instant. It's not an uppercut. It doesn't have the invulnerability. And the other issue with this is that the advantage you have after crouching heavy punch, depending on how it hits, it makes the advantage when they land unpredictable. So if I hit it pretty late, then yeah, I'm +7. But do I walk up and hit stand medium punch? Do I walk up with a jab? If I do it kind of late, -3, -1, +5. It makes it so difficult to understand in the moment what should be done. What I usually end up doing is, I think, stand medium punch or crouch medium punch. I think I usually do like crouch medium kick mix fireball just like, alright, this will have advantage if they block it. Hopefully I'm at least +4. So like, that's also a problem. So this right here, this scarf, it has something I've never seen before called Head is invulnerable to airborne strikes, frame 1 through 6. I don't even know how to pull that up on the diff and show like where it's invulnerable. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be that helpful. Head is just like, what? Just from here to here? That's it? You can attack my shoulders? That's what we're working with? So again, you have to be so sharp to anti-air your opponent. You gotta be incredibly sharp to pay attention to the ground, to pay attention to dashes, and then finally to anti-air them with an anti-air normal or anti-air special that doesn't offer invincibility immediately. I almost feel like they could give that to her and it would be okay. I kind of feel like it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I wouldn't even be that jealous. Because her anti-air is absolutely better than Sagat's, especially as far as the knockdown. That's so much better. You get basically a hard knockdown. Yeah. So the other attribute for Rose, yeah, we already discussed this. How the matchups turn into she just gets diluted so much because of the characters, these characters, and sometimes these characters as well. This isn't a perfect chart. I just kind of plotted things out, and maybe you can take a look at it. Probably things would change over time. So then the other thing that at least helps some characters that don't really have like invincible reversal 3 frames, they still are powerful characters. G is a good example. And the reason why G is so powerful is because he's got a command grab, he's got pretty good anti-airs, he's got decent footsies with the stand light kick buffers and crush counters in the mid-range, but he's got V-trigger. That's why G is powerful. At any given moment, you're winning, and then now you're not winning. You're losing. You lost the whole game. He gets a 2-for-1, you lose 2 rounds at one time. Because he activates, he gets corner carry, and then he kills you. Rose has trouble to do that. Like, I feel like V-Trigger 1 is an evasive... It's an evasive V-Trigger. This helps you in situations where you're like about to be in the corner and then you switch sides. There are some mix-up opportunities. There's more damage. There are frame advantage, ways to get frame advantage with this. Let's ignore that. That was actually +4 on my side. But this is pretty cool with the V-Trigger 1. You can do this. And then they get up. Like that. You get +4. Like this. This should have advantage. I'm doing it correctly. Maybe not against Chun-Li, but why is that even? Let's have her stand up. Let's see what happens then. +1? I could have sworn that was more than that. But I guess that's not good either, huh? Let's try crouching. We'll do some live laboratory. +3, that's better. But that's kind of the idea here. You can use this teleport with EX Fireball and space it just right so that you have advantage. So and when this hits, you can also convert into the Scarf, and then when you dash up this, that can give you... That's okay, but it's not something that's going to put them in a sequence that's going to kill them, is the problem here. So I feel like the Fireballs in the mid-screen, this is also okay, but this is escapable if they just jump. It's not a guaranteed put them in a mix. It seems like you just kind of get a grab at the end of the day. They can really just take the throw, and that's all there really is to it. And there are some unique things you can do with this. It's kind of, you know, throw this, throw another one, then boom, and you got whatever. I mean, it's cool, but getting them to a position where you can really utilize this is really, really tricky. In the corner, you can kind of do this, and then the cross-up is kind of weird. The teleport in general and the cross-up hits them in cross-up, but keeps her in front. I mean, it's okay. It's just not something you activate and win. It's not strong like that. It's a cool V-trigger. And of course the V-skills, they're very tough to use. You can't really just like knock them down and then use it in a good way. Either one of them. And if you do, like, you can do Soul Punish. You can kind of like do this and then get a satellite. But then you're missing out on doing this. This is just spending a whole meter and getting less damage just to get a satellite. So V-Trigger 2 is very good, right? These combos are really cool. The anti-air combos, very high damaging. Even the simple ones, I don't even know, like, I just know the Javits one. But you can do one like that, and it does a lot of damage. But to kill them with it is the problem. Oftentimes, you're activating this V-Trigger as a survival mechanism. You're like, oh, crouching medium kick activate. And if it doesn't hit them, you don't have much. If you slide, it's an easy V reversal. And there's nothing else you can really do to get close to them to use this. So if you activate this, and you slide, the V reversal, half your bar is gone. And you're in neutral. So it's gone. It's basically gone. And there's really cool things you can do with this. Like, you can get corner carry like this. They can't attack out of this. And you can withstand heavy kick, and that gives you +3 because of the shadow from the fireball. And you'll have just enough to complete that. But it's just a grab. You're just grabbing them in the corner. That's all you're gonna get out of it. And if you do grab somebody in the corner, it's pretty good. I mean, you can also walk up and hit heavy kick, and Walk up, heavy kick here, kicks fireball, +3 again. This is okay, but it's not like Karen levels of power. So it seems like Rose is very much so a zoning character. Those aren't very good in Street Fighter V, except for Gao. And if you notice, Gao don't really have to do it. You can hit buttons that go forward. He has very strong mid-range. He's very good anti-air. I don't know, maybe it'd help if Rose had an air throw, I guess. Probably not. I guess jump medium punch is kind of the same thing. But I mean, I kind of stick to the same thing. She's either top 10 or bottom 5. I think online, mostly bottom 5, but top 10. I think she's a top 10 character. Whatever that means. And I've heard quite a bit, people in my stream chat, they'll say that Rose came out pre-nerfed. And I'm like, nah, you know, we gotta figure this out, it's still early. Now I'm kinda like, you know, she might be kind of pre-nerfed. Reminds me of Sagat. I think she's better than Sagat. But I'd rather play Sagat online. And I don't like playing Sagat online. It's just this character, I think, just to sum it up, she's gonna suffer from online craziness. And it's not just the players, it's the delay. Rollback, you know, it's got inconsistencies. You're not gonna see the blocker they hit. And then distinguish between the ground game and the air game, you gotta be so on point to do it. But yeah, I guess that about wraps it up. This will be like the first video I made where I'm like, hey, this character's got some problems. But I hope you enjoyed something different. I hope you learned something. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking the video. Leave me a comment. I do my best to reply. Alright, that's it for now. Hope you learned something. I'm AutoMattock. Peace.